4 more people trusted Christ this past week at our church. Isn't that great? Yeah, God. I didn't want to get up and preach. I just wanted to keep listening. Yeah. Anyway, I will preach. Here we go. If you have your Bibles, we're going to be popping all over the place. We're going to start in Luke chapter 2. And we're going to talk one more time about Christmas. 'Tis the season to talk about Christmas if you're a preacher. And it's great that we get to do this once a year like this and celebrate what God did for us through sending His Son. I know it's Christmas when I set up a fake tree in my living room and go through that hassle. I know it's Christmas when my neighbors put up lights, because I've stopped doing that, bah humbug. I know it's Christmas when there's lots of traffic up near the mall. You know what I'm talking about? Just don't even go there, right? And I also know it's Christmas when I get to see road rage personally. Not me personally, I get to watch it in other people. It's true. I turned into Chili's the other day with Eleanor. We were going to have some lunch, and I pulled off a 60, and the cars in front of me were stopped. I mean, you try to book across 60 so you get past those 3-4 lanes of traffic so you don't get hit. But then I had to slam on the brakes because the cars in front of me were stopped, and I thought, this is odd. It's lunchtime. Sam's can't be this crowded. And sure enough, it wasn't. The 2 cars in front of me were stopped because both drivers were hanging out their windows just screaming all kinds of Christmas cheer at each other. And I thought for sure they were going to get out and it was going to come to blows, but then I noticed that the front driver was a lady, but she was the one that was given the worst. I don't know what this guy did, but she was all over him like stink on a barking dog. And it was just nasty. And Ellen and I pulled in, and it was just this reminder of what we're talking about this week. We're going to talk about peace, but peace is necessary because we live in a world of conflict. Isn't that true? For 5,500 years, historians tell us that there's been 15,000 different wars on this planet. 15,000. Just boggles the mind. I mean, we all know, some of us have loved ones. I talked to one of my sweet ladies just up there. Her son's in Afghanistan. We have others that are embroiled in conflicts that our country's in currently. And all of this has come up because we as a race, a human race, seem to create conflict everywhere. We're even entertained by it. Has anybody watched reality television? I mean, the whole premise is, throw a bunch of people who don't like each other in a room and let them fight. And we're entertained by it. We have, just instances of it all over our culture and our society. And it's just a huge part of our lives. I was just thinking about it this week, getting ready to talk to you, and, just kind of ruminating on why conflict happens, and I came up with this. It's because of the my ways in our life. Have you heard that saying, my way or the highway? I'd like to rephrase it a little bit and just say this is the credo of most people in the world. My way is the highway. It's the road I walk on. And because everybody has their own road, they walk to the beat of their own drummer, we tend to run into each other. When your my way intersects my way, there's going to be a crash. It's called conflict. And it's unavoidable. It's just a part of who we are. I think this my way stuff gets built in a couple different ways. One is just in sheer rebellion. We grew up saying this to our older brothers and sisters. You're not the, say it, boss of me, right? You're not the boss of me. You can't tell me what to do. And even when someone was the boss of me, I would do my darndest not to do what they were telling me to do. Does anybody like to be told what to do? Especially if you're doing something you think you know something about. That pride kicks in and you're just like, hey, pal, back off. I don't need a backseat driver on this one. I'm good. And our my way conflicts with their my way, and off we go. Now, you don't have to go any further than your own homes. If you're raising children, you can see that young children learn this at a very young age. In fact, when they start walking their own way. Isn't that true? It's not like they have a GPS that's tuned to you and you have like a controls, like a remote car or something like that. It's just they go off and do what they want. They'll head into traffic. They'll run towards a barking dog that's going to eat them. And so parents are constantly grabbing their, errant child by the wrist and saying, no, Johnny, no, Billy. But does Johnny or Billy want to do what they're saying? No, in fact, my kids, they had this thing down. As soon as my arm, or as soon as my hand hit their wrist and they felt me reining them in, their bodies would go limp. Right? And I'd be pulling them back to safety. I didn't want to go. They were dead set on their way. And they've remained so. And all of us have remained so. We want what we want, and we want it now. But it's not just in this this world of conflict. It's not just your way, conflicting with my way that brings the messes in our lives. We can go our own way and make messes without anybody else being involved. Does anybody notice this? You can just kind of be, hey, I think I'm going to try this, or I think I'm going to take this for a spin, and head in a direction or head in a way of life, and at the end of that road is just a mess beyond your comprehension. I remember our son, Ben, was 8 years old, third grade. He decided that he would one day go and visit a friend that he rarely visited. Never really, hung out with this kid. He lived on our street, but he decided on this particular day to go, see if the kid could play. He didn't tell mom or dad that he was going to do this. So 5 houses down the street he goes, knocks on the door. The kid's playing his favorite video game. Well, that's all Ben wanted to really do anyway. So he walked into the house, sat down, started playing a video game. And for those of you who have kids who play video games or play video games yourselves, there's no clock. It's like Vegas. There's there's no windows. You can just play forever. Not that I've been to Vegas, by the way, but so he just totally lost track of time, and he's having a great time. Well, meanwhile, back at the farm, Mom realizes kid's gone. Mark, have you seen Ben? No, I thought he was with you. I don't see him anywhere. Well, check outside. Maybe he's playing in the backyard. No. We'll check out in the front. No. To the other two kids, have you seen Ben? No. Well, so now, this is kind of troubling. Maybe he walked over to the park. There was a park just a street over. And so I went over there. I searched everywhere. Wasn't there. She, in the meantime, was going up and down the street to all the friends that he would frequent if he left our house, and not finding him in any of those places. She started to get concerned to the point where she called some of her friends from our life group, and they came over and assisted us in the search. And so now we've got 3 or 4 vehicles trolling our neighborhood trying to find this kid. She finally, gets to the point, it's probably been 10, 15 minutes, and, she's starting to really freak out. And so she gets on the phone, calls the police. And she was doing okay until the policeman said, hey, do you remember what your son was wearing the last time you saw him? And that whole phrase, the last time you saw him, it wiped my wife out. She was done. And so, we finished the phone call and started, we were praying through this whole time, but started really praying. When I see my wife crying, that's when I know it's something serious. Is anybody else that way? That's how I was. And I was like, oh, this is serious. And so, we're guys. So through this whole hubbub and, several phone calls and, just trying to figure out with the police what to do, they were on their way, to come and take a report. Well, who comes traipsing down the street, but thoroughly entertained and satiated Ben. And he sees all the people from our adult life group hanging out. He's like, oh, I missed a meeting. I didn't know we were having a meeting today. And but pretty soon he sees his mom in tears on the front yard, and he knows, oh, this ain't good. So he kind of slows in his pace, and he walks up. And now his mom, being mom, was just happy to see him. So she threw her arms around him and sobbed in his chest and kissed his head and all this stuff. And, oh, I'm so glad you're home. And I just stood behind her, waiting for my turn. Because you can mess with me, but don't make my wife cry. If your boneheaded choices throw my wife into a tizzy, we're going to talk. And I'm going to use the palm of my hand on the seat of your pants to communicate clearly. So he didn't sit down for the rest of the day. Yeah. And did Did he leave that morning, to go and make a mess in his life? No, he just wanted to hang out with a friend. But he went his own way. And it just didn't work out, and it created conflict in his world. Yeah, we're good at this. We're like over the years of our, development as a race, we've gotten really good at conflict. And by really good, I mean really bad. And it wrecks our lives. So, isn't it great then that at Christmas we get to celebrate the entry of peace into this world through a child who is Christ the Lord?